really important issue in music, and that is death in the music industry. And we are talking about this after hearing about the passing of PNB Rock as of September 12th, 2022. And I feel like this issue has come up a lot of times. And since music is a big part of my platform and Blunt Talk Media's platform as well, I feel like we both we're interested to talk about it. So we linked up and we started talking about it. So please talk about your experience and your thoughts and feelings about death, like generally.
If we're talking in a general sense, offset of deaths that like occur with like artists and stuff, my views on death are kind of they're more nuanced. I more think of it as just like a passing. It's not really like it's a tragedy for the people that you know don't have that person in that same same state or same plane. But I honestly don't really think that death is all that like really sad. It's just more of another form of moving on, another form of life, if you will. I mean, honestly, like for example, like when I die, like I know like if for a funeral it's gonna be sad, but I hope there's like a good portion where it's just like straight up partying and being like, hey, he finally made it out of this place kind of thing, you know? So
So you see it more as a gate out of the struggles of life into a more peaceful place. You think?
oh yeah, 100%.
I get that. So now getting more specific, how do you think about when musicians die? Say PNB Rock, that's like an unnatural way of dying. So how do you feel about that?
That's just terrible. It's a form of I think it's another form of like spiritual warfare. But to be honest, when it comes to another person shooting down another person, I think it's kind of just it's just a terrible way to go, and it shouldn't be as popular as it is. But then again, when it comes to dealing with, I guess, the quarrels, when it comes to being in the spotlight, you have to deal with people that are jealous. You have to deal with people that want your spot. You have to deal with people that don't want you here, and a bunch of other elements. So just as an artist in general, you already kind of have more or less a target on your back, but it's no real good reason to have, and that goes for like a majority of artists. It's not just one, it's just more like, wrong time, wrong place. But then again, being in that position puts you in any position to be the wrong time, wrong place.
For
So,
PNB Rock, he died at the age of 30. Basically, summarizing for those who are not aware of the situation to bring light to the situation, he was at a restaurant with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend accidentally posted their location, and someone tried to steal his jewelry, and he ended up getting shot for it, which is really unfortunate. And PNB Rock was most known for his two songs, Selfish and Middle Child featuring XXX. So how this discussion is going to go today, I have four major deaths in the music industry, two from the older age of hip hop and two from the newer age. And
mhm.
so the two from the older age I want to talk about is Tupac and Notorious Big. Now, both of these were really big back then because back in the day, when hip hop was starting to grow, there was not really any other deaths that really brought attention to death in the music industry, and these
Yeah.
two were like the biggest artists back then. So Tupac died on September 13th, 1996, and he was 25, and he was shot while driving near a stoplight for four times, which is really harsh. And he was most known for his songs Ambitious as a Writer and California Love.
Mhm.
And for Notorious Big, he died March 9th, 1997 of next year after Tupac died, and he was 24. And he was also shot, strangely enough, also four times, leaving a
Mhm.
music industry party. And he was most known for his hits Hypnotize and Juicy. So, Jamie, what are your opinions on these first two major deaths in the music industry?
So when it comes to both of them, I mean, the plight of the plight of gangster rap and I guess being in that environment and talking about that stuff did have like a hand to play in that, but more or less it really had to do with the people in the music industry surrounding those people 24/7, or not even 24/7, but a good majority out of the time. So when it comes to those, I think it was more calculated. You can't really like the thing is they wanted to, and this goes in the case with a lot of people. They love making people martyrs. You know what I'm saying? Like making them examples or giving them this whole nice I guess start to their journey and then an end to their journey abruptly, and then they become bigger than they would have been if they were alive, more or less. Like that always is debated if if they were alive, would they still be looked up upon as like really being like popular and mainstays in the culture or whatever. But when it comes to that, there was always, and this came later. This came later down the years of like rap music, but there became a shift in what gets played and what gets spotlighted. That was more gangster rap. They wanted to promote that heavily. Like that, music executives wanted to focus more on gangster rap as the years went by. And when it comes to that, I mean, they do make good music, and people in that genre do make good music. But it always has its little effects of the changing the people that are all around that environment, the kids that listen to that music, the teenagers that listen to music, affecting the youth with just highlighting like the bad, gritty, shoot a person, kill a person kind of way of going. So to have that person also be shot and killed by the music that they promote, ironic, but there can only be so many instances of irony that you can take within like say 10 years to the point where you can be like, hold on, this seems more calculated than just a coincidence. But that doesn't really get talked about. Because
do you think these deaths are happening based on their status or based on the influence of the gangster rap in the lyrics and all that, or is it a mix of both?
well, that question right there honestly is a mix of both. But to add another layer to that, it's the how do I say this? It's the distribution, it's the labels that also play a hand into this. I mean, this guy, the one that's standing right behind me, PNB Rock, I mean, like just today, because of his death, he's gotten featured on a lot of playlists, and it's just a lot of more, I guess, promotion towards his music when it wasn't there when he was alive. And here's the thing, like I would say I was a decent fan of PNB Rock. Like I wasn't checking for his new stuff every once and again, but I did have respect for the music that he gave me for 2017 through 2019. But like he low key became blackballed, and that was because of the industry. The industry really does control like who gets played, who doesn't, who makes it, and who doesn't. Just like the NBA, there's a lot of people that are really good at basketball, and only like 15% of those people, maybe even less, will make it to the NBA. It's the same thing it's the same thing that goes into rap. Like you got to realize that more or less these people are hand chosen, and for whatever reason, it's not going to be for a long time. There's no longevity into it. So I think when it comes to just finding like a street person that makes good music, or just a person that has like a couple plays in the YouTube sphere, SoundCloud sphere, Spotify sphere, they kind of look at that and also be like, okay, who can we kind of control, or who can we make into a star, and who can we profit off of even after their death? So the things that I'm saying are things that artists that are no longer here, but it's always a weird situation where they talk about it, but nobody talks about them talking about it, or how they're getting F'd in the A, or how this is happening, or what the agenda is behind the curtains. Like they'll make videos about this, and you can look this up 100%. But it's like that's one thing fans or music commentators or anything like that don't really highlight, because the truth, you expose the truth. I mean, well, it really depends. I mean, honestly, they can say stuff like that, and the masses is so far gone that doesn't really matter. They could tell you the whole blunt truth of why they're there and how they got there and all that stuff, and no one's gonna really care. They're just there for the music. They're there for the portrayal of violence, sex, and all that other shit. I mean, props to XXX, Tentacion, Young Dolph, and all of them, but at the same time, they were promoting positive stuff. They were also promoting negative stuff, and so it's a duality kind of thing. You have to. The thing when it comes to me and trying to talk to people about this is you have to form your own opinion at the end of the day. There's too much of a hive mentality when it comes to conversing about music artists and just kind of spewing what the next guy is talking about because it's non-controversial. You know what I'm saying? So.